mercy, what a stop!
My goodness, what a save!
What a save! What a glove save there, but what a stop! Looked like a sure goal. You talk about an A+ save and maybe the save of the night.
Welcome to the Goalie Science Podcast, where we break down the science of goaltending, coaching, and everything in between. I'm Dr. Jamie Phillips, former professional goalie, board-certified physical therapist, and goalie performance specialist, alongside my co-host, Derek Boujan, owner of Boujan Goaltending and On Ice Hockey Performance Center. Whether you're on your way to a game, gearing up for practice, or just tuning in, grab your favorite drink and let's drop the puck on this week's episode. Welcome to another episode of the Goalie Science Podcast, episode 122. We're going to get right into it. Derek, you have quite the backdrop today. It's almost like there's something that you want to talk about. So I'll tee you up right off the bat for everyone listening. We're going to read you an ad read. So let's just get after it.
If anybody follows my vlog, on the last vlog, which I released on Monday, I told everybody how they can win a set of SV Pro, Bauer's new product line. So if anybody's looking to win some SV Pro from me, go to my last vlog. It tells you exactly how you can do it to be entered in. At the end of the month, and when I say end of the month, I mean July, I'm going to give away a pair of white full set gloves, blocker, pads, SV Pro Bauer product, because it's a really good product. And I, unlike you, have not sold my soul to any company. So I can say that with all of the integrity in the world. Very, very highly impressed with this product. And gloves. Now, spoiler from my vlog, that came out, well, for a week ahead. So I did relace the glove and I did go through a break-in process for a junior glove. And that thing is buttery. So watch the vlog from this week to learn how to break in a glove, because whoever wins the glove that I give away is going to have to break it in.
What is your break-in process for a junior intermediate sized glove?
Why? I'm not giving it away. You got to go watch the vlog.
Oh, well, I thought our listeners would enjoy to hear it, because that's actually, in terms of questions that get asked the most, it's like RVH and then breaking in gloves.
Well, yes, breaking in gloves is pretty easy. Like, you just beat the crap out of it. But you want to make sure that you break it in on the angle that you want, because if you break the break, and I've seen that on a lot of like 600 series gloves, then they can't close. Like, you get that, you know, that little bump in the break where it breaks and it pops up and then you close and it gets like there. That's just bad break-in. So break your gloves. But one thing I will say, and I've completely lost what I was going to say. What did you say this before? I'm puppy dog brain right now.
RVH breaking in gloves. The blog. I didn't say the blog. That was actually all you.
But go check out the blog. Oh, I was going to say is at the end of the July, we're going to give away a set of Bauer all-white SV Pros. So go check out how to get entered. Pretty good set. Excited to get rid of it. Excited to help out a goalie and give some free gear. But you got some fly lights. I have not seen the fly lights. So what are you thinking about the fly lights?
Fly lights, I wore them. If you check out my vlog, I did wear that, put them in. The size that they're a medium, and I typically wear a large. So actually, my knee was not bad. Thigh rise just a little small. I liked them a lot. They slid very well. The only thing I didn't like is just a personal preference was it's a flexible boot. I like the stiff boot, so I would have just changed that in a custom order. The biggest thing now, and if you watch, and again, Shaver's blog, to watch my blog, we talk about it, but Bauer has all the customization options now where you can have like more curve in the body of the pad and a stiff boot, or the other way around. So you get all the customization. Do the FB Pros, I don't have, I said, like I told you pre-show, the set that I have is coming in tomorrow. Do they have that Y strap on it in the back? I actually did like that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is what makes me so angry. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty smart person. I feel like I'm very creative and I can think outside the box very well. Why are simple things? And for those, like, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll show you because I got that right here. Okay, that's the why that we're talking about right there. But
no, I know that I like that, but on the calf strap.
Oh, the tune fit on the calf.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, okay, who cares? We're talking about this Y hit. The Y toe strap. I get upset because it's such an easy idea, why didn't I come up with this? Like, how come I can't come up with these simple, like somebody else comes up with them and I'm like, oh my God, that's so easy. Like, but that's like with like life and everything. Like there's so many little things that we just think everything has been invented. And then something comes out that is so obvious. And it's like, oh, why did I not think of that?
Yeah, that's basically anytime I go to buy any product, I'm like, damn it, I could have thought of this. Uh, Speaking of toe ties, if you made bad life decisions and you're wearing Warrior, that is what it is. Just get rid of those stupid bungees. I had to yell at
But it's not even a bungee on the Warrior. It's like a nylon
clip on elastic.
It's like a backpack strap.
Yeah.
Like
I had to yell at one of my kids because I yell every time because we started doing some RVH stuff and we were teaching and breaking it down. And he had these stupid Warrior backpack straps. I just spent the whole hour yelling at him because he couldn't do anything right because he's wearing his backpack straps. So I'm not gonna let him skate anymore until he gets those off because it's just it's killing me.
the one like anybody knows us knows we are not Bauer fans. Or sorry, Warrior fans. The one thing I'll say about the Warrior pads is their toes are really long. Like they got long toes. So if you do set up your bungee or skate lace appropriately and you figure that out, it's pretty easy to hit a toe lock because the toe is so long. Now, there's a lot of guys that still believe steel, but like with that long toe, that hitting that toe lock in those Warrior pads, I believe is easier than on some pads that have a shorter toe and more of a like a 60-degree toe that you like the stiff toe. I feel like it's harder to learn a toe lock with those shorter or vertically angled toes.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a thing. Usually where the problem is kids just don't leave the toe when they slide, and then they always end up missing it. But it's just practice. It sucks that you have to do things a million times for it to become muscle memory, but hey, hard work. I had to tell my kids yesterday, they're like, I can't hit it. I'm like, yeah, because you've never done it before. Just you're gonna do it every single day for the rest of your life, and eventually you're gonna get it. Today is just day one of that.
Last week was the first time I introduced an RVH to my 9-year-old AAA kids. So my son is 9. He hit his toe lock every single time on the blocker side. Every time. Like my kid is completely backwards. Everything that like is naturally easy on the glove side, you can't do. Like he is significantly better at recovering with his blocker leg. He's significantly better at power pushing with his blocker leg. He is significantly like he hit his toe lock on the blocker side every time, missed it every on the glove side. He's completely backwards. But I mean, if a 9-year-old who I've never taught an RVH to can hit it, you can hit it. All you gotta do is practice it. And also, this is one thing that people should understand. It's a best case scenario, right? We're all of a sudden talking about toe locks and RVHs. A toe lock is a best case scenario. Or scrambling and we're trying to find net and find an anchor. It's more important to get there, even if it is skate on post, than it is to miss and go outside your post. But the toe lock is a best case scenario. And I'm pretty sure I think I saw in one of your videos where you're teaching the transition from skate on post into a toe lock, which is very easy to do. It's just a little bit of habit, like it's practice.
Yeah. My thing is, I tell the kids, is just like, listen, you're not going to hit it every time, but when you are in a scramble, if we can have more best case scenarios than worst case scenarios, you're going to make more saves. So that's why I hammer it home. And then, oh my God, I'm so good. When they go skate on post, I score every time. I'm just looking for it. I don't know what it is, but it's just auto. Hit it. Goal, goal, goal. That's what I smile because it justifies everything I'm saying. Going back to Weston and RVH, I have changed my tune a little bit on when I start to teach RVH. I used to be like a hardcore, like, no, it's too early. But then I just realized that the kids are doing it anyways. So they might as well just learn to do it right. We don't really do RVH heavy sessions at that young age, but we'll talk about it and I'll explain like, hey, when you hit it, you gotta have toe lock, you got to lean up and you got to have anchor foot engaged. We'll practice it a little bit. And that way, when they go off on their own and do it anyways, because they see it on TV, and then when they give up the goals, at least they're going to give up the goals over their head, and it's going to be pretty good technique. And then I can go back, like, hey, did you know if you just overlapped, you would have made that save? And then we can have that discussion. But I have kind of started introducing it, kind of sprinkling it in a little bit earlier than I used to in the past.
Well, this is always the argument that I've had, is that you can introduce it and you can teach it at any age you want. The second you start training it, it becomes habit for them and it becomes a default. So you can teach them these things. It's like a T release. Like a T release is something that you're going to use maybe 2 times a game. You can introduce a T release for a situation and they can know what it is. But if you just teach that, and teaching it and training it over and over and over and over again, it becomes like, what they're going to learn is they're going to learn that I'm learning this, or I'm being taught this, and I'm practicing this so much in training that I have to just do this all the time in the game.
Yeah.
So you can introduce anything you want. You can introduce an RVH to a goalie at 8, 9, 10 years old. But the second it starts to become a training module where you're continuously training it, the goalie automatically implies significance, and they're going to do it more often. And that is what the difference is teach them. So yeah, if they do have to do it, because you know what, like at 9 years old, they do a lot of wraparounds.
Mm-hmm.
I saw in U10 AAA more wraparounds this year than I've seen probably in 15 years coaching AAA U16 hockey, because that's what the players do. They do a lot of wraparounds. Young kids do a lot of wraparounds. So there is a need for goalies to understand how to get to the post to block those situations.
I agree. I have to, when I introduce it, yesterday, like, so I had two younger goalies and an older goalie that were out for like the lesson portion where we talked and broke it down. The biggest thing is where everyone gets caught up on the RVH is just the application and like understanding when to use it. It's the when and the why. So that's kind of what I hammer home early. It's like, listen, if there is a player driving low under this area, the golden triangle, and there is a backdoor option, you probably need to use it. If there is no backdoor option and the player is at the dot, do not use it. Here is why. And then I have them go into it and then I just shoot. They're like, see how easy it is for me to score? And I go, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, what should you do? Well, just hold your feet, be in your stance. So that's the thing, because as soon as they see it on TV and you see Thatcher Demko, who has, Ian Clark gives some rules, but when you have to use it and when you have to be in the RVH, and you give that to a 5'1" 11-year-old, it's not a 1-to-1 translation of using it. So it was good, but I think it's always going to be a point of contention on the internet, because no one gets mad at the butterfly when you give a 5-hole goal up, but everyone gets mad at the RVH when you give a short side off the side ear and in goal. And then they tell you to stand up.
But putting on your doctor hat here, and I know the people want to know why, other than goalies are just small, and that's why we wait longer to introduce it. And what I go back into what I said about, if we train something that implies significance, and goalies will overuse it. But if we talk from a purely physical development side, what does doing RVHs do to the human body?
So there's no goalie research on it, but when we look at it, just kind of from the biomechanical and the anecdotal side of it, there's positionings of the hip. Essentially, all of goaltending is bad for the body to a degree. The hip is at its most vulnerable when there's hip flexion and internal rotation. So that, like, if you're listening or watching, if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're not, if you bring your toes in and you bring your knees kind of into a butterfly, that is hip internal rotation. And then when you do that and you bring your hip close to your chest, that is hip internal rotation with flexion. basically what happens is the joint space, there becomes less of it. So you get a little bit more of like bone on bone. I'm going to say it with huge quotation marks, but bone on bone. And this is why a lot of people feel like a pinching sensation. So in the RVH, you get all that, but you also have the impact of hitting the post. And this is a big downside of the skate on post is there's nothing to absorb that. So as soon as you hit the post in a quote unquote vulnerable position, that force has to go somewhere, and that force will be translated through your ankle, through your knee, through your hip. And over time, especially with young athletes, as they are developing and their bones are growing and their bones are more malleable, there is the potential for structural changes that are going to be a problem in the future. Now, you can make this argument about everything. T-pushes and stopping on a T-push, which there's a study a white-sided all study that shows that that's the most force that gets put through the joint. You could argue that about the butterfly, although the butterfly isn't that much, there's not that much joint forces. But anytime that you have like a hard stop, that force that you had and all that energy that you had sliding has to go somewhere. So it gets shot in the hips, and then that's where you can cause damage. So from a biomechanical and a safety point, it's probably better to err on the side of doing fewer, more intentional reps than just doing a ton and ton and ton of RVH with the kids, and even the older goalies too. But how I would structure it is, if we were going to have, like, let's just say you skate twice a week, if you're going to have one RVH day, the next day, like, don't do any RVHs. Like, sprinkle it out for your young athletes, because they're already going to do it so many times. They're already going to have tons of butterflies, tons of T-push. They're already probably going to be in the gym doing stupid goalie workouts that are making things worse and not doing the right things. So when you compile that all into a lot of RVHs, you might end up with some hip issues down the line. Another thing that's interesting is the ankle. I wish that I'd have to go into the literature and see basically when was the RVH introduced to like the mainstream, do you think?
I'd say around 2004, 2006, in that window.
You think it was that late? That
I think so. I remember when I finished playing in 2005, I really started to learn the VH. So I would say 2005 to 2007 would be closer to when RVH has started to come in.
Yeah, I guess. I was thinking maybe like 2008
Years.
or 9. But anyways, I'd have to look at it. That's a hard thing because the style of goaltending's changed. But if you look at, I'm sure that if you looked at the number of ankle injuries since, let's just say 2010, when it was probably the most, everyone was using it. And then before, the number of ankle injuries has probably gone up too. Because again, you put your ankle in a vulnerable position, and it's not even really the positioning of it, it's the impact. And this is stopping. And that's where it's really important that, one, you're strong and you're mobile, and two, that you're not doing RVHs in the gym with dumbbells and stuff, which I've seen people put on the internet, because again, it's just excess force and it wears down over time, where you kind of want to do like the opposite, where you want to strengthen the muscles that are able to absorb force and able to counteract that, so that when you do hit that post, you have that stability, you have that deceleration, eccentric control in the joint.
Okay, so I got a question. This is now going to become the Goalie Science RVH podcast.
I love it. It's got the most downloads of all time.
I have a question about what you said there. You said the biggest issue with the RVH was the force. Now, is there a difference if I'm set on my post on a 45-degree angle where I'm already like in that position, and then I enter from my feet into an RVH? Or if I make a save at the top of the crease, I rotate, I come back, and I hit the post in an RVH from a sliding position. Is that going to be significantly different in how that is going to affect my body over time?
That is a good question. So again, I can't give a yes or no answer. I'll just give my educated opinion. I would say yes, because again, forces, right? Like if you're coming in at zero quote unquote miles per hour, so feet to knees, and the entry is smooth, like you're not coming away and it's going, you're not zigzagging in, there would be less forces into the joint as long as you're not like, I know a lot of people struggle with that transition, which is why I teach it first. Versus if you are sliding in, then again, like all that kinetic energy from sliding has to be sent somewhere as soon as you hit the post. So I would err on the side of going from feet to knees versus sliding in would be less impactful over time. Yeah, I would definitely say that. Um, a lot of people get stuck up on it because it's a little bit more uncomfortable. I can say that because it feels weird because you have to go from your foot outside and you have to have that little bit of C motion with your foot and the curvature and able to get, unless you're going to skate on post. If you're trying to go to toe lock, you have to have that little bit of curve. But yeah, I would much rather entries from there than like hard and fast power push scramble, hit that big time. Another question that someone's probably listening, they're like, well, then skate laces versus bungees in terms of impact. One, there has never been any studies on that. For some reason, goalie influencers have been throwing out that there's all these studies showing that skate laces are better. Those don't exist. So if someone ever says that on the internet, just ask for the study and then there you go. When it comes to, I've thought pretty hard about this, and I think that there might be some difference, but the difference would be negligible over time because there's pros and cons to both. Because people are going to say that if you use a bungee, that the elastic tension. What is it?
Elasticity.
Elasticity. The elastic tension on it is going to pull your ankle away from your body, which yes, is possible. However, when you are using a lace, even though there's significantly less elastic tension, when it is taut and pulled around the post, it is still also pulling your foot away. Then the inverse argument could be had for if you are pushing in and getting a good post integration with a skate lace that's not as flexible, that force is going to have to be absorbed by the body and less through the elastic potential of a bungee. So it could go both ways. And so that's why like I would love to measure forces on this, but I've thought about it and basically it literally doesn't matter. And it depends on what you like. Do you like how it feels with a bungee? Wear a bungee. Do you like how it feels with a skate lace? Wear a skate lace. If you're a young kid and you don't want to tie your skates laces and you just want to Velcro bungees, just wear bungees. I wore bungees when I played pro. I liked them. So I think the argument that it's better for your hips, you want to know what's better for your hips? Just not like playing goalie. It's probably going to be good for your hips, or playing hockey, because even skating itself is going to be a pretty dangerous position because you're getting, again, hip internal rotation flexion, which is why so many hip hockey players have poor hip mobility because they've done it over time. And they also don't squat to full depth, which is relative hip internal rotation and flexion at a good depth, which is a whole other argument about why hockey players should be squatting safely. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox, but bungee, skate lace, wear what feels good to you. As long as you can hit your toe lock with it, don't worry about something being better or worse for your body because there's no evidence. And until there is, then just wear what feels good.
So a couple points. I want to go back to while we're on the skate lace bungee. If we want to do a pros and cons list, like you said, there's literally, in terms of long-term health safety of your body, no correlation, no difference. If we want to talk about the reasons to make a choice between the one or the other, skate laces are very cheap. Skate laces usually don't get cut. They last forever. Now, what I've done in the past, and I can, shameless self-promotion, I could throw this on a vlog for everybody, is on my son's pads, I've done the skate lace, and I've just taken the elastic or the Velcro straps, and I just put the skate lace into those, so he still doesn't have to tie his skate lace. He has skate lace on the bridge, and then I just added in the Velcro straps. Yeah. I was at Pro Hockey Life the other day by accident because I should have went to Max Source Sports, but I was just over there. But I did see, and I do want to talk about this. And I think you have before, but I want to dive in a little bit more since we're on this RVH and health of the joints. I seen the new HF3 Bauer Connect skates. Now, they have on the new skates, they do have a loop at the front of the toe to hold your toe ties, which is new feature. They've also taken away one of the straps and it's now a heavy duty Velcro strap. But where do you see in terms of the Connect skates helping and in an RVH position? Because anecdotally and in terms of performance, what I've seen is the second I put goalies into the Connect skates, their ability to transition in and out and use their anchor foot to C-cut in terms of hinging significantly better. I am a massive, massive supporter of the Connect skates. And just in terms of what you've seen in terms of the science behind it, just talk on that point.
Good. Yeah. Again, I love the Connect skates. So Bauer sent me a pair of the first editions, the green ones. And that was the first time I wore anything but a true, or I guess at that time I wore VH in college before it turned into they're bought by True. And the second I put them on, I was like, okay, these are super weird. And then I wore them and then I sideline swapped my True skates the next day because this is one of the few times I put on a piece of gear and I was like, this is like actually sort of game changing. I used to be a really tight in the ankle person. I still sort of am. I just felt that I liked that snug fit. Where so the upside. So again, Bauer can't make medical claims in anything about especially injury prevention. If any non-medical device company makes an injury claim, you put a huge asterisk there because also that you can easily sue someone for that because it's not a medical device company. So there's no hard and fast evidence that they do reduce injury risk. Having a little bit more control and flex in the joints potentially adds for sort of a little bit of reduced forces or a different distribution of forces throughout the joints. What we've heard from many goalies is that their hips and knees feel better and they don't fatigue as fast from the Connect skates. And a lot of that is probably just a little bit more freedom in the ankle will allow for a little, again, just different distribution of forces, which will take some of the forces away from the hips, away from the knees. The control, I wouldn't focus as much on the injury prevention side of the Connect skates. I would more put it on the control. And that increased amount of ankle movement allows for an increased amount of control, meaning you should, in theory, be able to get your inside edge a little bit easier. You can get your toe edge a little bit easier because you get a little bit more dorsiflexion. You should be able to skate a little bit better. Like hitting the RVH again, like as soon as you hit that, if your ankle's able to bend a little bit and have a little bit of give to it, then again, and your ankles are strong enough, then that is those muscles taking a little bit more of the deceleration forces versus that being sent into the joint and then up the knee, up the hip, up the ankle. So that is the huge upside of the Connect skates. Now I did pull up a pair. I just Googled it. What's the newest version? I don't see the clip-on thing on the front. Is it on the cowling?
I'm pretty sure the model is HF3, but they've gone from the gray and green to like black and blue, and they look amazing. They are sharp looking too.
Oh, here we go. Someone on Reddit, unreleased.
Came out, I think, 2 days ago. So it might be tough to find, but when I went and saw, they had the first pair and they.
Oh, the loops on the top. The loops on the top of the foot.
top of the foot. Yeah, right by the
Yeah.
like top. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like
So that's so smart. That's so smart. I thought you meant like the clip was on like the white. I guess is it a cowling? Do they still call them cowlings?
it's Cowan. Yeah, no, that's yeah, up on top of the toe.
Mm.
Yeah, very, very good idea. Same thing. That's another thing that I'm like, man, I actually, I used to make just a little elastic. It wasn't elastic. It was like a little Velcro strap that went under your skate laces for guys that would always get undone. And then it just clipped, because I actually saw it on YouTube. Somebody did it. So I made it close. But that Bauer's now taking all that out for us. Do you know anything about the true skates? I don't know which model, but they actually have in the boot, there's a brake and they actually flex also, but the outer shell doesn't look like there's a brake because of the patent for Bauer. But true skates also have a little bit of that flexion in the boot at the top. You know anything about that?
I don't. I actually haven't really looked at the trues at all, just because I've been pretty darn happy with the connects. I'm just trying to. I pulled up true right here. No, the narrow fit is a different attack angle. No, I don't know. I think most companies are starting to realize that a little bit more flexion in the ankle is better, especially for goalies. The biggest thing too is like, again, a lot of it comes down to preference, right? Like if you like the tight feel of a skate and you don't like that extra freedom, then don't don't wear them or just do them really tight. But as someone who did his skates really, really tight because I was a horrible skater, having that little bit more freedom definitely felt a lot better. And I think about it now, like I actually kind of like laced my skates to allow for a little bit more ankle range, but now it's just built in. And I just like the sock, like the ski boot, or you just slide your foot in and you're done. It's nice. Feels very good. It's a good feel.
Yeah. Last thing on the RVH before we can move on, because this is now like just become the complete RVH episode. We talked a little bit before about head angle and like gaze of where your head is in an RVH that you learned a couple weeks ago. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I stole that from AJ Walczak, where when you're in the RVH, basically, if let's just say the puck is on the goal line. If you have good head trajectory on the puck, then you're kind of limiting your field of vision because let's just assume that you can only see about 90 degrees to each side. When you're dialed in that puck, you can only see to about half the ice. Whereas if you position your head towards the bottom hash mark, you just position your head, your eyes stay on the puck, but you position your head, you can still see the puck, you can still get a good track, but now you've just expanded your field of view about, I don't know, X amount of degrees. But now you can see a little bit more into the slot where the danger is, because a player on the goal line shouldn't be super dangerous. Like if you're tall and you've done your RVH well, there shouldn't be really any holes there. And you need to know where is everyone in the slot so that you can adjust your rudder foot and either sharpen up, so go closer, so more away from the goal line, or flatten out, bring that anchor rudder foot down towards the goal line to pre-position yourself for any sort of bump out on your knees or on your feet. So that was just something that I took from AJ Walczak, who's the goalie coach. He runs Armor Goaltending in Plymouth, Michigan, and he's with the US and TDP. And I thought that was pretty cool. And so a lot of my older goalies have kind of started to implement it. And so far it's good. It's just a little bit of a habit thing where you just, again, hit it, make sure your head's in a good spot, expands their field of view so that they're just a little bit more prepared. So it's a small little adjustment.
What does that do for like if I'm turning my head a little bit up ice? Does that not give more of like that bank shot off the side of the helmet? Like, have you seen that in your teachings with this?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It's more of you're not really adjusting it more than like a couple of degrees. But if you identify that player's coming in, you can always just turn your head back, right? Like it's not like we're turning 45 degrees. It's like
No,
you're turning like 10 or less. Like we can, if we need to, we can get out the old goniometer and let's just see.
For those of you in the car, Jamie is using a fancy protractor to figure out his head angle.
So we're at about 8 degrees. 8 degrees, give or take, because that was super scientifically accurate.
One thing listening is if there's an opportunity for Jamie to pull out things that make him feel smarter than everybody else, he will do those because he does that to me all the time.
I actually am looking at I bought some force plates for the clinic and the gym, and I have a few other things coming, which actually would be cool to talk about because they're kind of more popular. I also one thing that I've been doing now is I guess I'll classify myself as an influencer to a degree, but I never like used it to like influence. But I have like there's been some things for the mainly for the clinic and for goalie coaching that I would love to have. And so I've just been emailing brands and they've been sending me things as long as I make contact for it. So I emailed a company called OVR and they're sending me like a velocity based trainer, which is something I'm interested in terms of just like training athletes and rehabbing them. For those that don't know, basically it attaches to a piece of equipment and it will tell you how fast you are moving that bar. And there's a lot of different benefits to it. But basically hockey players are I would say they're general athletes. They're not specific. Specific athletes I'd call like a power lifter, weightlifter. Like you do your thing. Basketball players, tennis players, hockey players, they're general athletes where they need to be good at a whole bunch of different things, change of direction, speed, explosiveness. So if we can take exercises in the gym and we can do them as explosive as possible, then there's a theory that you can develop better motor qualities over time. So even if your goal is to build muscle and you have to do, sets of 12, let's push these 12 reps as fast as possible so that we're building usable muscle. Again, a lot of those are theories, but I'm excited to bring those. We'll talk about it. I'll make content. But if you own a company and you would like to sponsor this podcast and send us things, it would be good because we don't make any money from this podcast other than the $1.50 a month, maybe from ads, if we're lucky. So everyone subscribe to EGM Labs. Actually, because I do that giveaway, by the time you're listening to it, I probably have given it away. No, if by the time you're listening to this podcast, unfortunately, the pads were given away yesterday on Canada Day. But a lot of people signed up to the app to be entered to win. And I'm glad that they did because all I've heard is this is fantastic. And why didn't we have this before? And basically, if you're listening, what is it? It's an app on your phone or your desktop, iOS only. Sorry if you use an Android. Sorry, not sorry, actually, but iOS only. But it's basically everything I've ever done goalie wise and continue to do. And like videos, lessons, breakdowns, everything. And like I just upload it. There's a Discord, and I'll probably link in the show notes that you can join for free. You don't get access to the app, but like when people have questions in there, and I answer them, like, oh, that would be a good video. So I'll put it in. Like some goalie the other day was having trouble pushing off their laces into the slot. So I went on, like, next time I was on the ice, had my goalie go there and I explained, like, listen, you got to make sure that your laces are taut and I showed them how to do it and how to drive from the post properly. And so they put it in the app. And so it's always there. And there's a lot of skating patterns in there. There's actually 324 right now, with the goal of 365 different patterns. So that way, when people are like, I don't know what to do today, what do I do for skate? There's something to do every day for the year. And then when the year's over, you just do it all over again.
How that map worked out for you.
Yeah, just do it all over again. But what were we going to talk about?
Well, what I was going to say, it's funny because we're both doing vlogs now, whatever. And like, I have a lot of fun with mine. Like yours is definitely more like straight goalie coaching type of stuff. I try to have a little bit more fun, show just the fun side of what we do. And I make fun of my clients and they make fun of me and all that stuff. Like I just try to show a little personality. But I went back and I had a long week. I had some chiller issues at work and I've been here fixing ice forever. So in between flooding and waiting for freezing, I've been just watching some old YouTube channels and just kind of went down the dark path of the YouTube algorithm. And what I'll say is watching some of the old skate patterns that I did like 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's amazing how I forget some of the good stuff that I was doing. And I'm watching some drills and I'm like, man, that's a good drill. Like to the point where I'm going to do some of that stuff tonight because it fits in. The philosophy about coaching is never going to change. My philosophy has been the same for the last 15 years. And I wish I had something like you had where you are actually documenting and you have a database of all the drills you've done. And it's funny because I did kind of find some of that with some old videos I did. And this is it's cool because now tonight I can go back and do some stuff that I did and not have to think of new drills and think about how to incorporate them because they're there right there. So it's cool that you have 365 drills, one to do every day, because they're all there right at your fingertips. And maybe I should join the EGM labs and get some skating drills. But I had like an aha moment, like, man, that's a good drill. I made some good drills 7 years ago.
Yeah. I like it mainly because, you know, I'm on the internet and people want to work with me, but I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And not everyone, surprise, surprise, not everyone in the world is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But it gives me an avenue to work with some athletes that even aren't in like the prospects program, which is kind of like my mentorship. But what will happen is like I'll have a goalie be like, hey, I'm in the labs app and I've been giving up a lot of RVH goals. And I'll be like, okay, can you send me a video? And then they'll send me a video of it. I'll be like, okay, here's the drill I want you to do. Go do it. Take some video of it and send it back to me. And it's just, I'm able to like reference it or like things like, how do I tie toe ties? Well, there's a video there about it. How do I do this? How do I do that? Like, perfect. Like, I don't have to write like a huge long explanation because I've already made a 10-minute video answering all those questions that are there. And then anytime a new question pops up, it just add it to the app. It's, I have the tab open right now. I think like, I don't even know. There's something close to like almost 3,000 hours of video in there. And you could just watch it whenever. And there's even things that are just like, you know, if you really like Sergei Bobrovsky and you just want to watch Sergei Bobrovsky make saves with some coaching breakdown, like there's a ton of those games where like I'll break down NHL goalies games and I'll show you what they're doing. And it's just, it's just a great, it's an easy resource for me to have because I can point all the goalies in the direction. Yeah, the gear giveaways and stuff is fun because it's kind of like a thank you to being a part of it. Like next month I have a Howie's gift basket thing, and next month after that I have like a CCM duffel bag, just like things to give away because it's like, hey, like why not? But in the app, I think a lot of the people were surprised because I don't really know what they were in. I've looked at some of the other ones in the past, the other goalie coaching apps, and they've kind of haven't. Some of them are like more like scouting apps or like this and that, where this is just like a purely like goalie coaching. Do you want to see inside my brain and see how I see the game and how I can help you? Here it all is. And the feedback has been fantastic from it, and that makes me very happy. The only negative feedback is that it's not on Android, and I know it's actually incredibly hard to build an Android app. So I don't know if we'll ever have an Android app. But if you have an Android app, you can just go on your computer or your phone and watch it via like the Safari or Chrome.
You do a lot of talking about yourself.
I do talk about myself. The oh, we're gonna record an in-person podcast pretty soon.
Are we?
Yeah, we should record one on so context. I should probably give context. In two and a half ish weeks, I'm having a joint bachelorette party, which a lot of people have said is dumb. I don't have a choice. So I love my wife, and you might be wondering, yes, we are married and we're having a bachelor party after the fact because we got legally married a while ago and now we're having our expensive celebratory wedding. But we're having a joint bachelorette party because two different countries. My friends have never met her friends. She really wanted it. Also, it is kind of a fun idea. So Booge and Coach Dave, who's never been on the pod, even though he asks weekly to come on the pod, are coming up to Michigan. And so I think we'll do an in-person pod. We'll maybe have some beers record outside, have some fun with it. set up, nice backdrop at the cottage that we rented, and I don't know what we'll talk about, but talking about something.
Over goalie side plot recorded.
Oh, you know what we should do? So if you're listening, we'll do it. We'll make that a Q&A. We'll make that a Q&A, and that way we can have some beers. It can fun. We'll be loose, and we can answer your questions. So if you do have questions, put them. If you're listening on like Spotify, you can either go to YouTube and ask your question in the comments of this video, or you can shoot me an email. It's jamie@elitegoaliemethod.com, and we will ask your questions, or do it on Instagram. However you want to get a hold of us, send your questions. We'll create a huge bank of them, and then we'll ask them. We'll maybe come up with a fun drinking game for it, where we'll come up. I don't want to give it away now because then everyone will rig it, but we'll have some fun with it, and it'll be a good in-person episode.
That we need for this podcast is every time you take any topic and turn it into your EGM Labs app, I would have alcohol poisoning and have to call an ambulance just from you shameless self-promotion.
So the thing is, if we had sponsors of the podcast, I wouldn't have to promote myself.
We don't do a good job of trying to get people to sponsor.
We really don't.
I do this because I enjoy hanging out with you. This is my time to hang out with like my best friend right now. Like I get an hour to hang out with you. We talk hockey, we chirp each other a little bit. This is fun. And I actually, full disclosure, I drove into work this morning and I listened to an old episode, is like number 32 of you and Ben talking about puck handling for goalies, because that's my theme of my video session tonight. And first of all, you've come a long way. Like that episode was trash, but not in terms of content. Content was great. I mean, like Ben was talking and it sounded like in a tunnel from 300 feet away from his microphone. But the content was wonderful, but just like, this is like 100 episodes earlier. And I was driving in and I was listening to you guys and I was thinking, I'm like, man, like this is pretty cool. Like this has been going on for a long time. I looked at the date. It was September 23rd, 2023. You guys did that episode. So it's a long time. And I was just thinking, I'm like, I made $0 on this ever. I've never gotten a cent. I could do this forever and never get $1 and be incredibly happy doing it, because it is so much fun. And I do enjoy talking to you every week. And I do enjoy the banter. And I do enjoy going out to the rinks and having people come up and say they listen to us. Like that stuff is the reason that we do this. And I've gotten 3 or 4 goalies come up and skate with me just from listening to this. And I had one of your guys come up last week and I got to work with him. And no, it's just a lot of fun. And yeah, like it'll be super cool to do one in person, because I don't know if we have done any in person.
No, Ben and I never did one. And then because the times I was home, Ben was always working. You weren't a part of the podcast when I was home. I don't even think we interviewed you in person. So no, we've never done one. I have done a few in-person ones. I did one with Blake Pietila, Max Bergman. That was our shirtless one that we did in Finland out at the lake house. I had Stefano. I think that's really it for in person. So I'm excited about this one. I am going to give you one of my microphones that has like the dual one, so that if you ever do in-person interviews, and then people can stop complaining about your audio quality, because I'm going to just give you a microphone. Actually, you're going to give me 2 microphones. But yeah, I'm excited. We'll set it up. I mean, sure, Dave will try to ruin it like always. There's a bunch we can do. I'm trying to think like who's coming. I mean, Ray's coming, but he's a beer leaguer. Lenny's coming. He talked about college golf, but we'll just answer Q&A. We'll have a fun time. We should hopefully do a vlog, because I'm going to do a vlog, and there's a possibility that my guy who is my camera guy here, I'm trying to get him to come up for a day or 2 to just kind of like film some content, so that my wife and I have it as kind of like a memory bank, and it's like high quality and not just me like Blair Witch projecting it the whole time. But it would be fun to do like your vlog, my vlog kind of thing, even though you are missing the boat day, which is pretty messed up.
This is someone has to work. It's not. This is try running a hockey school when it's 45 degrees outside.
Yeah, you know what? It's
Like
I can't imagine it for you because I don't own the rink. The ice has been so bad because it's been so hot, and then our generators are just going nonstop. And I can't imagine yours, which makes sense that you've been putting out literal fires all day because of this heat. And it has been, well, you know what though? I don't want to hear it because you own a home with central air, and I live in a second-story apartment in a house that's 200 years old, and I have 3 window units, and
hot.
it's 80 degrees. But I woke up 2 nights ago, and Fran was literally sleeping on the floor, the hardwood floors, because they were colder. It's so hot, and I actually haven't slept very well these last 3 or 4 days because it's just been so hot. So I don't want to hear it from you, Mister. I have the privilege of buying a house back when home prices were affordable.
Okay, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you'll see this, but I'm walking right now. So if you're driving, pull over and watch on YouTube. You want to see what I've been dealing with? Hang on a second. Okay, it actually did freeze a little bit, but
Oh, it melted all the way down.
it melted a milk. Look. So I let it.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, and I got hey, I got a power skating class tonight that I have to put 12 elite level college, junior A, OHL, and AAA goalies on. So I'm praying that I get this ice frozen up so that I can actually, hopefully have some
What's up? Do you get an alert when it goes out?
No.
You should set something up that I know when you're.
I should get my pilot's license and fly to Europe. Why don't you just shut up? Like,
Well, I don't know. I just say the power goes out. It's just there's got to be some way that it tells you that the generator dies or the fuse is blown or something.
I let the first one go, but this is like your inability to be any sort of masculine come through it all. Well, I'm a generator. A generator is
your compressor. Sorry.
A generator conducts electricity.
Yeah.
Okay. The chiller is the unit that is comprised of compressors inside that free. Okay, so thank God that you work in an office and you have some sort of scientific knowledge because you couldn't change your tire.
False. I can change tires and brakes.
I wouldn't drive the car that you did the brakes in.
I did once put brakes on backwards, and I realized that right away.
Oh, man. We're out of goalies to talk about.
Yeah, we're out of goalie stuff. I'm excited for an in-person pod. It would be good. Have you seen the itinerary? So my wife is the best. She lets me basically do really whatever I want, and I'm a crazy workaholic, and she lets me do all those things. But she is also very detail oriented, and we have a really detailed itinerary about how the weekend is going to play in. So when I bring up the podcast to her, it's gonna be babe, I need an hour of free time alone with Booge so that we can record a podcast. I don't know if that's gonna go over well because that's work on a non-work trip, and she is very adamant that I do not work on non-work trips. I even booked a session, so it starts on the 10th. I even booked a session at 6:30 in the morning on the 10th before I go pick up Ray and his girlfriend from the airport. And I had to ask permission for that to make sure that it was all good. So I can't wait for this podcast discussion.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy, is right.
Oh, boy.
Party shot. Party shot. I'm just doing what you're doing.
Well, the brick tournament starts in like a day.
Yep.
So I'm pretty excited to watch that. So my shout out goes to Lachlan Coolin, who is playing for Team Connecticut, who's a goalie that I've worked with for the last 2 years, going to the Brick. And there's 2 teams from Toronto, which is close to where I live. So I'm excited to watch those guys because there's a lot of kids that my son plays against and a couple kids that he played with. Shout out to Caledonia or Haldimand County resident Nolan Barrett, who is on the pro hockey team, who my son has played with in the past. So I'm pretty excited about the Brick tournament. I watched it a lot last year. Loyalist or Jack, I don't know, I mean, screw this translation up or the how I say the last name, but Jack Trissler played on Chicago last year. I talked to his dad all the time on Instagram, and I know he listens to this podcast. So watching the Brick tournament last year, I watched Jack a lot, and then we just started talking on Instagram, just because I love the way he played. But I'm super excited to watch the Brick tournament again this year because it's my son's age group, and it's a bunch of kids he plays against. And this year I have a goalie playing for Team Connecticut who's in the Brick.
Along the same vein there, I have a goalie that came and skated with me, Jack Morrison. I believe he is playing in the Brick. When I talked to his dad was kind of weighing his options. I said, based off what you said, I said, if he has the opportunity to play in the Brick, it's once in a lifetime. So I would say if this fits in the budget, do that. I didn't follow up to see if they were doing it. So hopefully he's there. And if he's playing, hopefully has fun and play as well. And I think that's really it. I don't really have any crazy parting shots other than that. I think I've never watched any Brick games. Is it on, like, where do I watch this?
Free on, it's either YouTube or like the actual website. They stream the games live for free. Yeah, I didn't move from my couch last year. I watched almost the entire tournament.
9-year-olds.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll put it on the TV here in the clinic and I'll give it a watch because I've never watched it. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, watching. Again, we're going to do a Q&A. We're going to do that in 2-3 weeks. So if you have questions, put in the comments, shoot us an email, DM us. I'll keep a document of all those questions. We'll get them answered. And then if you think of a fun way to do like a drinking game with it, and every time I mention EGM Labs, drink whatever. And you know what? For every person that joins EGM Labs from today, July 2nd, Derek will take a shot.
No, he won't.
Derek will take a shot. I will take a shot for every person that joins the labs at that point, and then my weekend will be done on Thursday, and I gotta get through Sunday. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We do appreciate the support, and we'll talk to everyone next week.